everybody! Welcome to another Sunday Funday, and as you can see, instead of going to see the dumb shark movie, which I heard is actually not the worst thing ever, it is a dumb shark movie from what I've been hearing. Instead, we saw BlackkKlansman. I'm sorry, the name of the book is BlackkKlansman. Spike Lee decided to try and be Q and all that.
Play with letters.
Yeah, and put an K in there, and there's no space, so it's BlackkKlansman. It's like, I get what you're doing, Spike. You're still stupid. Mm-hmm. Oh, and just to get, if y'all can kind of tell, I have a bandage on my arm. Charlie was stupid and somehow ended up cutting my arm, not with a knife, but with the clip from a knife. So I'm special.
While trying to stand up out of a chair.
Yeah, I'm special that way. So, beyond injuring myself, Megan actually did get to go with me to go see this BlackkKlansman movie. What did you think?
Well, first of all, I'm going to bean you over the head. Keep saying it like that.
Well, what should I call it?
Just BlackkKlansman.
But there's an K in there. What am I going to do with that extra K? It's not silent.
I was saying it's silent. Damn it.
It's not telling me it's going to kill me afterwards. I broke her.
A new record, I think.
Yeah. Was that like 2-3 minutes into the video?
Something like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh. So, about BlackkKlansman. What did you think of it?
I liked it.
You liked it?
Yeah. I didn't love it. But I liked it.
What did you not love about this film?
Well, I did think, like, well, first of all, there's a message of just, don't be racist dicks. Throughout the movie. For both black and white, but especially for white.
That's Spike Lee's shtick. Those who've never seen a Spike Lee movie, sorry. I slide the whole time if I else in a certain position. Sorry to catch you off. Yeah, those who've never seen a Spike Lee movie, he's a little over the top with his message, and it's a lot ham-fisted usually.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's like, it was a little bit heavy-handed throughout the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it was a bit more leaning towards white people. I say that, the majority of races are whites. It's like, yeah, maybe true. Back, when this film takes place.
Yeah, like late 60s or something like that. Oh, we haven't really talked about what it's even about.
As it takes place like the 70s, they're talking about Nixon. They have Nixon posters.
Well, Nixon was around in the 60s.
Well, yeah, but
originally
left him as president. That was 70...
69 was when he ran for president the second time. Megan doesn't know any American history. And for some reason, I retain all this. I'm just a Rolodex of information.
Well, I think
a lot of it useless.
Well, unlike most Americans, especially most Americans our age, that, think Nixon and think 70s and not 60s.
Well,
except for...
no, he got elected in 68, didn't he? Yeah, he got elected in 68, and he was serving his second term whenever he got popped for Watergate and all that. Hi, this is the history part of everything. Just a quick rundown of the story. Sorry to cut off this against him all. If y'all have been watching these this long, y'all are probably used to it. Yeah, real quick, BlackkKlansman is simply about a young sheriff, I keep wanting to call him a sheriff. He is a young black guy, of course. His name is Ron Singleton. Singleton, right?
No, it's... Oh, God, what? Ron... Sutherland?
No, it was not Sutherland. It was not. I can assure you of that.
No, it's like, Ron...
Haha, come here, IMDb.
I was like, this is going to bug me so much. Like...
Do. You could VAT for me while I'm sitting here. Ron Stallworth.
I knew it started with an S.
Yeah, I knew it was an S too. I just thought it was Singleton. Yeah, his name's Ron Stallworth. He goes to join the Colorado Springs police department, and he ends up starting. He's of course a rookie. He's the first ever Colorado Springs black police officer. And he even talks about later on, he's like, he always wanted to be a police officer, or probably because of some of the stuff he kind of mentions. His dad was in the military. It seems like his dad was just, a bit of a hard ass, but a fair hard ass.
I would say, not really abusive, just more like, he even says,
Stern.
I would say his dad raised him right, he says, at the beginning of the film. So, yeah, so it
makes sense. It's actually also a very noble goal. He does state that he is for the empowerment of black people, but he's also for being right. And that's what he's all about.
Yeah,
but
doing what's right, what's fair, and trying to do what's legal.
Yeah, and all this, the whole story revolves around Ron Stallworth eventually deciding, whenever he joins up with the undercover group, pretty much those who do investigations and stuff like that, he calls the Klan. And pretty much joins the Klan. And it's...
over the phone, and then he has to get one of his coworkers, played by Adam Driver, to kind of pose as him in person. And
I will let y'all know, those who have seen, obviously, the trailers either on YouTube or watched it online in any way or seen it on TV.
Missed opportunity for a Red Band trailer.
Yeah, the whole point where he says, I don't like blacks. No, that's not what he says.
Like, I don't like blacks, I don't like Hispanics. It's like, that is totally not what he says.
If you can think of a slur that he could throw out, it's coming out. Which I like, because first off, it's very of the time. That, back in the late 60s, we were still kind of, we were shits. Nice way to put it.
Yeah, and it makes it even funnier when his coworkers turn around and look at him like, what the?
Because they look like, fuck?
What? Just so confused, what the?
Yeah, you really expect Adam Driver to do one of these? And it's just because he's got this, the perfect slow burn over. Yeah.
What the hell am I listening to?
You really expect, the Stewie Brian demographic to happen whenever Brian accidentally in front of Tom Tucker it said, it turns life all upside down face, and Stewie just slowly just turning. It's yeah, that's just one of the best things. It's also one of the funniest damn lines in the entire film. Yeah, that's the gist of the movie. If you really want to figure out and spoil the movie for you, go read about it on Wikipedia. Or go read the book, I'm pretty sure. Ron Stallworth in real life is anything like his character was in this. It's probably a hell of a good read, I would say. Mm-hmm. It's interesting, I'd say.
Yeah, I had to figure Spike Lee made some changes from the book to more appeal to his vision.
Yeah, I would not be surprised. So, not to try and cut you off, I will say I did also really enjoy this movie. For the most part, we're going to get into, I think, our agreed, though I think I'm even more harsher about it when we get to the ending.
Yeah.
The acting in this movie, first off, just go ahead and say, it's top notch. The young gentleman who's doing this, I cannot remember his name, but to be fair, it's one of his first major roles.
Yeah, he's a newbie on the scene.
Yeah, he's really damn good in this. It's you enjoy watching him on screen. He actually has just charisma and just his presence that it's he walks in, his dick was there 5 minutes before him. And Adam Driver is a delight. And I know people don't like his Kylo Ren. I don't mind his Kylo Ren, even if he is a little emo.
I think it fits.
Yeah, and he works here really well. Mm-hmm. He's the perfect amount of an asshole. Though, and I will say, the writing in here also as well, for all these different characters, because they have to say certain lines, is pretty good. At points, there's problems that keep cropping up, and I'm like, Spike, I get what you're saying, but dear God, man. There's an OJ mention, and I know
We all know how that turned out.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Spike Lee, subtlety's not his thing. He gets subtlety less than Megan gets subtlety. And yeah, you admit it yourself. You get no subtlety. You don't understand it. You don't pay attention to subtlety.
Yeah, he first tried to flirt with me in a very subtle way. It went right over my head. Like, I thought he was just being nice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to be fair, up to that point, I had never really been flirted with. Yeah. So okay, what is flirting? I don't know.
Hey, at least I was a really nice guy. In fact, like, all right, cool, you don't care, all right, cool, I back off. But yeah, so yeah, the OJ thing because at one point they're kind of talking about black athletes they like or black people they like, and there's little mentions here and there, though I think some of them don't fit time-wise in the film, but I'm not going to start dissecting that. But they go on to this little bitty thing about OJ, and it's like, okay, I get it. And I know the OJ documentary was a big thing. And just last year, Spike, I get it. Stop. And that's one of the it's a smaller fault over the other faults that happen.
Yeah, just little reference like that, almost to stuff that we know, that how it all turns out here in the present. It's like, hardy her.
Yeah.
To us, it falls flat. Or the little audience we had with us, they got a little kick out of it. It's like,
And there's jabs constantly throughout the film at Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Political fire shields activated here. I don't give two shits one way or the other. But it gets to the point where it's like, all right. So, we get it. You don't like Trump, Spike. Shut it up after a while, because it feels very unnatural for these characters to be saying it or mentioning some of these things. And it's like they pause so the laugh track can almost kick in. It's awkward at times. Like at one point when he's talking to David Duke and he's like, we might just have a man just like that in White House one of these days. Pause for laughter.
No, he was talking with his boss and he's like, oh, think about it, how they spread hate. They're gonna, he wants someday to put a guy like him in the White House. Like,
yeah, and still there's that weird pause.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we know you're going to laugh here at this.
Some dipshit in our theater even has to, oh, Trump.
Yeah, he even mentioned it.
Also go, no shit, thanks. No, it's like, yeah.
Thanks, jackass. And it's not, and I'll just let you know, it was weird, our theater. Just to also speak about our theater, we had I think a couple of black people, of course, you expect, but the rest of it was older white people. Yeah. Like, right next to me, I was going to punch him, was the guy who had to clear his nose every 5 seconds and schnoz and do other disgusting sounding things. The whole fucking movie. That old fart was right next to me.
There was a white couple next to me. I got slugged. The lady next to me kept making little comments. Not even really about the movie. Just making little comments to her husband about shit. It's like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I was surprised by our demographic. Not saying, only black people should go see us, but just that I'm surprised. And I think because of that, this movie's... Some of its messages, I think they're going to fall a little flat. It does not help that, like I said, the audience I would figure would want to go see us isn't really going to see it. Or they either did see it and don't agree as much. To speak about the message, just to let y'all know, this is going to start to turn a little political. Yeah. Sorry. Talking about Spike Lee movies.
Yeah, I was going to say the Trump reference. It's like, I don't mind, the movie focusing on, the politics of that day and age, but it got really annoying, the constant, digs at the political climate of nowadays. It's like, okay, yes, we get it. It's like,
You don't like Trump Spike. I kind of figured.
You think he's a racist and no better than David Duke. It's like, okay, well, yeah, some people think that, some people don't. It's like, okay, just stick to the fucking story.
Yeah,
okay,
tell
please.
a good story. Yeah, and that's the biggest problem that I would agree with that. It's like, it got a little distracting. Not that it completely distracted, but when it would happen to bad things, it takes you a bit out of the movie, it feels like. It's like,
yeah, it's like trying to be a commentary about, like, oh, this shit is still going on. Nowadays, like,
yeah,
hitting us right over the head with that anvil, thanks. It's like, yes, we realize we're racist nowadays, and there's almost like a surge of, like, Nazis and neo-Nazis and, Klansmen. It's like, oh my god, it's like, really? I thought we got rid of this shit. But
you would think too. But,
yeah,
where...
Well, I was gonna say, it's like, I understand the frustration, but it's like, it's not as bad as it was.
Yeah, it really wasn't. Like, and I will say, that's another thing, though, and I will talk about, like, when we were talking about the slow burn that Adam Driver does, it's funny, there's some good, funny moments, and I know the movie's meant to be more dramatic, funny, like, it's more drama than it does.
Like old prank calls they make on David Duke.
Yeah, which are actually hilarious as hell.
Yes.
But where this movie has those issues is they throw some odd tonal shifts at times. Like, I even leaned over at Megan, because at one point, it's talking about, what was her name?
Angela?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ron's love interest in the film. It's like this that you see in the trailers with the big fro
afro.
and the glasses. I think she's very pretty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she, at one point, got pulled over, harassed, and pretty much, in all essence, molested by
a white cop.
Yeah, a white cop. Okay, and there's this thing that she tries to talk with him about, all cops are pigs, and he kind of even has a look like, wait, really?
Yeah, he's kind of trying to tell her, it's like, okay, not all cops are bad, and, kind of trying to ask her, it's like, okay, well, did you, get the guy's badge name?
Yeah, his number, his name, anything like that. And for good reason, he's trying to root out bad where he sees it, which is an awesome goal.
Yeah, even admits, like, he's trying to change the system from within.
Yeah. But that whole scene, I mean, it's like, and she's upset about it, smashes right into a dance sequence. And I don't just mean just quick, it's a song number, you see them dancing and all happy.
Yeah, like, everybody's singing along and dancing, it's like
yeah.
It's like, it's like Soul Train or something, it's like, huh?
As well as you go, I remember going, well, that was a abrupt fucking shift, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's like, oh, well, here, take your mind off it by dancing, and, just, it's like...
I think there was a message that was supposed to be behind that, in that, oh, white people just trying to make the black people forget about the problems. I think that's the message. It's very, very obtuse, if so. It's obtuse to the point to where I'm probably inferring it myself.
I say, I don't...
If not, then it just means... Yeah, if not, it just means that Spike Lee does not know how tones work.
I think, okay, I guess you're trying to include, like, some fun, like, black people just, like, having fun and just, being themselves around other black people, and it just...
It clashes. It clashes hard.
Yeah, it's like, it could have fit in with it could have, fit easily in the film, just this shift was just a little off.
To kind of understand why I have so much issues with this, if any of y'all have ever seen the original Last House on Left, it's actually a good movie in pieces, I would say. In fact, I think the remake did a much better job of fixing some of the problems. Not just because it's even more brutal and even more violent, in that there's no longer scenes where the daughter is getting raped, smashed over right to where the parents are having a fun, goofy time.
Yeah.
I know what the idea was originally behind while Wes Craven did that, to try and show it's like, here's the brutality against the, goofiness of life.
Yeah, kind of like lightheartedness, just...
Yeah, but it...
I guess to soften the blow?
I guess. But take a movie like the original I Spit on Your Grave. There's a massively long rape sequence that is not interrupted. So because of that, that sequence is really fucking hard to watch, but it makes her, going out and eventually killing these guys so much more powerful feeling. Because of the tone shift in Last House on the Left, it feels like the director doesn't know what movie they wanted to watch or make, and same here. It felt like he really wanted to almost make a comedy. Like he wanted to make something that was still going to be an attempt to, like how Get Out tried to be like this dark humor thing that, utterly failed at its message. Ironically enough, since this is produced by Jordan Peele. But at the same time, he didn't want to not stay or not do a drama too. It just makes for a film that's a little uneven, to say the least. Yeah, and then we're going to talk about the ending. Mind you, it's not going to ruin a ton of it. Because we got to talk about this. There is an...
Are you talking about the footage, or are you talking about the little artsy part?
We'll talk about the artsy part, and then I guess I'll talk about the footage, because I have my own... I'm the one who really has the issues with the footage. I think you don't have as much of problems as I did.
I was like, it could just...
So, maybe we should describe that.
I would say, we'll explain here.
Yeah, so...
So, yeah, the movie ends, comes to an end, and then... Ron and Angela are in his apartment. Someone knocks on the door. They both get their guns and just both pointing at the door, go to answer it.
Because at this point, the Ku Klux Klan stuff has happened. We'll just put it that way. Real quick, I'm going to go ahead and say you should still go see this movie. It's actually really good. Still. Despite issues I have with it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. It's like, I think it's a good movie.
Yeah.
I liked it. Like I said, I didn't love it, but I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Enough to recommend it. It's like, go see it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
They grab guns, point at the door.
So, yeah. But rather than showing them, opening up the door or showing who's on the other side of it or what have you, instead it's them, kind of gliding down the hallway of his apartment building, away from his apartment towards this window where you see a cross burning off in the distance. And these Klansmen gathered around, kind of bowing down, almost worshiping the burning cross.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, it's Spike Lee just getting a little artsy.
Yeah, and it just focuses on this one Klansman constantly.
I think it's supposed to be that one guy, Ivanhoe.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be, also, I think it's supposed to be his captain, his police captain. They kind of mention every now and then.
I'm talking about
the police officer,
bastard.
yeah.
No, the drunk bastard.
Yeah,
the drunk retard.
Yeah. Megan's not even messing around calling him that. That's like he... Also is like that throughout the entire movie. I think he actually is supposed to be a guy who has mental problems.
Possibly. And they wouldn't trust him with firearms.
Yeah. Well, the Klan's full of idiots that like to mess with firearms.
True. Does not represent responsible gun owners. I'm going to go ahead and say that before got the NRA on our asses.
Magic jump gun. Sorry, a little bit of an emergency came up there.
Emergencies.
Yeah. Oh, so to get back to BlackkKlansman and its ending.
Oh yeah, we're talking about got kind of artsy there at the end.
Yeah, they were just pretty much still shots that just kept repeating them moving forward.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
Yeah, that ending was weird. But where I began to have a lot more problems was the last actual 5 minutes of the film.
Yeah.
So, for some odd reason, and I'm trying to figure out the why. Like I said, this whole movie's been mostly just about this, pretty much it seems to be more of a tale trying to say it's like, hey, we shouldn't judge people simply based on their, what they are. and we should, root out racism as much as possible.
And try and give people a chance no matter what their skin color.
Yeah, skin color, but not only that, but also who they are. Like, Ron, like, this lady's giving him shit just because he's the enemy, he's a cop. It's like,
yeah.
In the movie, it's not exactly the most middle of the road here. It doesn't actually take a route that actually makes a ton of sense. It's like, yeah, it's trying to pretty much say, it's like, oh yeah, she's a point. It's like, she has a point up to a point. It's understandable that cops can and will sometimes do things that are despicable. They should be held to a higher standard than that. But to instantly label them as the enemy and for her to pretty much not get anything in the end except for just, oh, well, she's going to... And Ron doesn't get any... It's the best way to describe it. He doesn't get closure with that. So because of that, it's pretty much saying it's like, that's a good attitude to have. And it's like, no, that attitude should be frowned upon. It should be heavily discouraged.
Yeah, pretty much the attitude that she starts with is the attitude that she ends the movie with.
Yeah, and it's still a negative attitude that does not get us away from racism. Because that's the one thing that throughout this entire movie is not really well addressed. Racism does exist on both spectrums. I'm not saying it's like, oh, well, white people get hit with their own races from other people so often as much as black people. No. It's just that's the thing. It acts like the only people who have been hurt because of their race are black people. That is such a narrow-minded viewpoint that it kind of makes it seem like Spike Lee really is racist in and of himself, that he hates everybody who's not black. It's like, oh.
Yeah, it doesn't really make you much better than the KKK, who, don't like anyone who's not white.
Exactly. I mean, we would have an issue with a group that was for the empowerment of, let's say, Chinese people or Oriental people of any sort, and also for the pushing down and killing and purposely, destroying anybody who's not Oriental. Same with if they were Middle Eastern. Same with if they were Hispanic. It's not one. It's one of these things like, okay, Spike, this is not a black and white issue. That's the biggest problem that he doesn't grasp at all.
Not really intended.
Yeah. Now, to speak about the ending that I'm having my issues with is during the end they decide to show the stuff that happened in Charlottesville. That happened
1
last
year
year.
ago.
Yeah, almost to the day 1 year ago. And I'm going to just be the person to come out and say Nazis are evil, evil, evil people. That being said, because it shows, and I mean, this is the real footage. Like, it even shows the guy that drove through the crowd. You don't see the lady who got killed, well, thankfully. But still, you know that happened. You see the people. It even freeze frames at times some of the people that were getting hit. It feels exploitative to me. Like, I was kind of explaining to Megan, it's like, it feels like this is being used for pure shock value. That's a problem in a shitty movie, Faces of Death, those who have ever seen those. I fucking hate that they use that kind of shit. Or like in Cannibal Holocaust, whenever they purposely kill animals on screen. Yeah, Megan is like, I'm never going to see a movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's exploitative. Using this, especially considering it doesn't have, like, the most context is dealing with racism. Or dealing with...
David Duke.
Yeah, at best. And because of that tenuous connection, I mean, it's like paper thin to be able to see the connection.
I would say that, like, that footage at the end, is more just to relate what all we just watched to modern day.
Yeah, and because of that, it feels like Spike Lee does not know what he's talking about. It's like, so...
Yeah, trying to say that, like, hey, racism still exists. We still, like, this is still a problem. Yes, it is. but it doesn't really relate to the story that you just told, except, again, as far as, like, David Duke and...
A broad spectrum of racism. And even then, it's a very broad spectrum. Because, again, it seems to ignore racism that exists on both sides. In fact, it doesn't even... It's one of the issues I have with, like, sorry to talk about a totally different subject. People who... Trying to put my thoughts together. This is a little bit hard to talk about. If anybody has ever seen Linklaris talk about Infinite Crisis, Jeff Johns wrote a story pretty much saying DC shouldn't be as violent and as dark as they have been, but he writes a very dark, depressing tale. So it seems to lob, hey, that's not right, you shouldn't do that, but it's not doing anything to fix it. Those who have seen my own review of Battle Royale, reason why I don't like it that much, because it doesn't say anything. It's like, alright, you're still reveling in the utmost, just depravity. Same here. It's like, it's not saying anything to try and move beyond it or try and fix anything.
And I think we should kind of clarify, it's like, we are not trying to diminish what black people or anyone who is not white. I hate the term minority because it's really inaccurate.
You're a minority considering it's like who was...
Yeah, if you're not white, you're considered a minority. It's like...
Well, I would say we're the minority here in Texas. I just admit, like, most of our population is Hispanic.
Yeah, because we're so close to Mexico.
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, not just Mexico, but all these Latin American countries.
Yeah, we've crossbreed for centuries now. Well, crossbreed sometimes rape, Humans suck. Let's just admit that much. Humans are just horrible, horrible people.
Yeah, this movie actually, as we were leaving, I was reminded of that old saying, I'm not racist. I had everyone equally. Just what I'm trying to say. Seeing that stuff was like, yeah, it sucked what you all had to go to. It was like, yeah, that's the reason why I hate people. we all suck. Things we do to each other, to our own children, to innocent animals, it just...
Yeah.
We suck as a species.
Yeah, but like I was saying, it's like, I have a problem with the fact that, one, they want to use this footage to supposedly say, oh, well, we haven't moved forward. So let's admit it, we have moved forward as a society. We're not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. That nobody is saying that Americans are perfect, but it's like to say that we haven't moved forward any. That's either being woefully
ignorant.
Yeah, ignorant of how history or how anything worked. No offense, talk to somebody who's actually had to go through it. Like, I don't know if they actually... I'm pretty sure they didn't get the guy who actually witnessed it. But they talk about one of the most famous mob... Not even lynchings, just mob murders of a black man. Which was...
Yeah, they...
Took place in Waco, of all places. Not that far from here. Where a mob killed a man.
Because he was accused of raping a white woman.
Yeah, and there was no... the story's actually very famous. It's infamous, I should say.
Yeah, the guy's friend, I think he's supposed to be an actor portraying the friend as an old man.
Because the guy's 16. It was 1916 that happened. So...
And the movie takes place, like, late 70s, I learned.
No, the story takes place in the late 70s. The movie takes place in, like, 60s. Just to let y'all know, we kind of, during the little bit of emergency thing we had to deal with, Megan looked up about it. The movie is supposed to take place in the late 70s. Mm-hmm. The actual story, because I looked more into it, mind you, it's a little hard to find about this.
Yeah.
It's late 60s this happened. Which explains some of the things, but it makes the movie feel even more disjointed to me now. Yeah. It's like, okay, so this doesn't have any real connection to the reality that happened.
Well, it's possible they tried to set it in like a slightly earlier time, because, by late 70s, most people were For lack of a better way to put it.
They were getting better about being assholes.
I would say they were cool with black people. They were cool with, like, integration and all that. And
Well, for the most part, except for Northerners. Sorry, Northerners, y'all suck. Mm-hmm. Let's just be straight out with it. Northerners suck ass. It's like at least, Southerners, like, we'll talk shit to your face. We don't care.
Mm-hmm.
But,
look, and I and bitches and we'll talk behind our back.
Yeah. But like what I was saying about the fact that this movie does nothing about furthering things. Like, it's pretty much just erasing the bad, we need to erase it. It's like, there's such a simple-minded viewpoint of it, because it's not just about erasing racism. It's about that you need to change how attitudes are. You need to change how people...
Just everybody's attitude. And
and that's the biggest thing. You said everybody. Everybody.
Yeah, because I will say it's like, yes, hatred does still exist. Racism still exists. Sexism still exists. Homophobia still exists.
But it's one of those that it's not...
To the extent that it was...
Well, what I was going to say is, like, it's not just white people. Let's just admit that. Let's as a entire world, as a entire imperium of men, if I'm going to use my Warhammer 40k talk.
Nerd.
That'd be... As an entire society, we have to admit that there's racism within all spectrums. Mm-hmm. To sit there and try and say one side needs to fix things, it's just part of the problems. Like, all sides do need to fix things. And yes, one side probably does need to put in more work, but all sides need to fix things.
And if you think about it, trying to alienate yourself from particular groups, and it's like, okay, y'all need to go over there and just work on your attitude.
Yeah, it's demeaning at best.
I would say it's kind of alienating. It's like, oh, that just maybe kind of makes the problem a little worse. Like, we need to all come together.
Yeah, it would eventually create... Sorry, this is a political thing, so it's going to be long.
Yeah, we're kind of up on our soapboxes tonight.
Yeah. To say, oh, well, white people need to fix this. White people need to do this.
It's like, why is this dress squarely on our shoulders?
Yeah, and not only that, but it's like... There are times where we'll see, it's like, oh, well... Don't want to move to a neighborhood of black or white people. Stay in this area. It's like, no... Either try to make your neighborhood better or anything. And this is... White people do the same shit too. It's the worst thing. Or be against anybody new moving in. Anything. It's like, that's ignorant. That is the basis of racism, is it's pure ignorance.
Yeah, personally, I don't care who moves into my neighborhood. Just leave me the fuck alone.
Just don't be stupid. That's all I ask if you move in my neighborhood.
Don't be
stupid and don't walk in the street at random times. I might actually...
Or don't be loud.
Loud. I deal with that.
I would say, talking about your squishy neighbor.
But yeah, that's just where I have my issues with the movie. Like, the inclusion of the Charlottesville stuff, like I said, it's so exploitive. It's like, Spike, you don't seem to know what you're talking about here. It has, like I said, at best, a tenuous connection.
Yeah.
And you're not really saying, it's like, well, how are we going to fix things?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I see what he was trying to go for. What he was trying to say with that, but it's like, okay, well...
It seems to be in almost an ignorant way he's saying it. It's like, oh, I'm going to avoid 50, 60 years worth of moving forward.
Yeah, with the progress. Just say, it's like, oh, look, this movie I just showed you, and this little footage right here. It's like, oh, yes, racism continues. See?
It's exactly the same. Oh, it really is, Spike. Trust me, there's still Ku Klux Klan, but here's the thing. 99% of white people say Ku Klux Klan being their fucking psychos.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, watch Blues Brothers. Came out in 1980.
I just plowed through those Nazis. Like,
yeah. I don't know, Spike.
That was fun watching the Nazis in this movie getting their comeuppance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't want to spoil it, but it's...
Yeah, they get comeuppance in the best way possible.
Kind of funny. It's like, yeah, he started laughing. I was about to go. It's like, honey, you are so wrong for laughing at that. But then it's like, well, this is Nazis. This is like Ku Klux Klan we're talking about. So
it's fine.
Like, karma, bitch.
Yeah. So, while we're done with our soapbox and all that, alienated all our viewers. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
What would you give this as a final score? It's a tough movie to score. I'll say that much straight up.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a good movie. We recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I've been kind of on the fence, like 7 or an 8.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to give it an 8, if only for, the guy who plays Ron and Adam Driver's, like, they both, you feel so much where it's like, oh my god, this gotta be, like, really hard for y'all just to get through, just to bust the bad guys, and it's just,
yeah.
It's like, yeah, you really feel for them both, especially Ron.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh. And especially the actor does such a good job.
Yeah, he does a fantastic job.
Mm-hmm. Especially being such a newcomer, it's like, wow, damn, dude, you're good.
So you can go,
I was like,
good on you, sir.
yeah, what would you think? Like, Oscar nomination, at least, if not Oscar win?
I'm not sure it's quite yet Oscar nom worthy. It probably will get at least a nod or two from a few people. I don't know if it's quite yet there. It's really good. It's not quite.
I would say, I wouldn't say it's good enough to win Oscar. I think it should at least be nominated, like get a nod, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Just.
Well, what I mean is how the Academy works is so fucking weird.
Mm-hmm.
They pretty much everybody sends in what they think should get voted in. Sometimes they can, select certain things, or they're given like, hey, you can only select from this, and it's usually a broader list then. But with actors and all that, I think they're given just free reign to choose whatever the fuck they want to.
Yeah, I
think
think
they want to pick me, I'll start throwing wrenches in your plans all the time.
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised at a number of different critics. I would say, yeah, he should get, forward for it. I'm not sure he will actually end up getting nominated. Then against his performance, it's really good. Yeah. It's not the best. Like,
well, I was originally talking about the movie as a whole, but yeah, the actor himself, I think, deserves a little.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. It's the actual actor.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, the gentleman from Get Out, I cannot remember his name. Sorry, I remember him Black Panther as well. Like, him getting an Oscar nomination, if he would have got one for that, I would have not been surprised. It was a fantastic job of what he was able to do with just his eyes and his expressions.
Or just a shit movie.
Yeah, that's the problem. The movie is such a bad movie.
Or at least from what you told me. I have not personally seen it. I hear it's really dumb, though.
Oh. So, what would you give it a score, though?
Like I said, it's like, I really want to give it an 8. I think I'm just going to go with a 7, though.
I'm going to give this an 8. This could easily have been a 9 if, one, the tone was a little bit more consistent.
Yeah.
Like, that tone shifting from side to fucking side to side, it's a bit jarring. And the ending, it's so... Yeah. Wow. Yeah, you got the ending of the actual film and then that last 5 minutes.
Like...
And it feels really tacked on, too. That's the worst part of it all. That's, I think, probably not helping the exploitive feeling of it.
Yeah, I was like, well, really doesn't help. It's like, it's just the footage. Footage of Charlottesville, some footage of David Duke.
Some footage of Trump.
Trump, like, saying, it's like, oh, you got, bad people on both sides. And then credits. Yeah. It's like, there's no real, like...
connection. There's nothing there.
Yeah, there's no real finality to it. There's no, like, offering up, like, okay, well, we need to do better than this. This shit has continued for all this time. Something needs to change.
Yeah, and like I said, that doesn't help its exploitive feel. It's like, okay, so... Like I said, it's an 8. If it had a better ending... Like, hell, if it just ended on that weird-ass shit from the... Like, the... Like, literally, it's like... Kink, kink, kink. It's how they move. Like, it's weird.
It's like, they just glide towards the camera, just... It's like...
It's weird. Like, even if they had that ending, I think I still would be leaning towards possibly a 9. Even though the ending's still bizarre as fuck and just guys like one of those moments. I remember looking at Megan and went, or someone was like, oh, what the hell happened? That was a thing, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I would give this a name. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of hard to get through Spike Lee, like, on his soapbox, just trying to hammer us over the head with modern day politics and.
In a movie that's very obviously set so far back. Well, that's one of his issues, Miracle at St. Anna. Not getting into Miracle at St. Anna. God, that was such a terrible war film. But, hey, that's BlackkKlansman. Still go see it. I still think it's worth seeing. If you walk out before the end, I don't blame you. It's weird, and then it gets to be, hey, Spike doesn't know what he's talking about. And you just go, oh, Spike, you're so stupid. Sorry, Spike Lee, you're a dumb guy.
Yeah.
And also, quit raping people. Psycho. Well, supposedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah, we'll say supposedly with this one. Sorry. Hollywood people are fucking terrible humans. Let's just admit it.
Yeah.
Oh, but hey, we'll be back next week with a tonal shift of our own. We're going to go to mile 22. We're
probably gonna see that.
Yeah, we're probably going to go watch China get blown up. So until then, everybody, we'll see y'all there. So bye-bye.
Bye-bye.